Inhale, exhale. Bring a sense of curiosity to observing breath, observing body, observing mind. No one to be, nothing to go, nothing to do, nowhere to go. In this moment, just being present, body, mind, breath. Feel the lower part of your body pressing down on the great earth. Imagine the top of your head holding up the heavens. And in between the two, breath is arising and ceasing, and arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing. As you breathe in, imagine the whole world breathing in with you, all of existence expanding as you breathe in. The minds of all beings brighten, become clear, alert. As you breathe out, imagine the whole entire universe exhaling with you. Releasing all that is burdensome, all that is heavy. Contemplate the difficulty of obtaining the freedoms and advantages. Recognize how amazing it is that we have what we have now, and not be distracted by the nonsensical things that we think we don't have and therefore we are not satisfied or not happy with. When we adjust our perspective, when we know what's ultimately meaningful to prioritize, which is our freedom and the freedom of all beings from suffering. Now recognize that with the freedoms and the advantages that we have, so difficult to obtain, now we do not so easily get carried away by little things that are not working out for us. Not so smooth, not so desirable. All these things are pale in comparison to the freedoms and advantages that we do have right now. But these freedoms and advantages can disappear anytime. Impermanence is true and death is true, or true enough, so that we should not waste our time. We should not waste our time in becoming better and better at seeing karmic causality, the unmistaken nature of cause and effect. Buddha's most essential teachings on where happiness comes from, where suffering comes from, is exactly in these teachings on karmic cause and effect. Make the aspiration to more clearly understand karmic cause and effect, and to be guided by this wisdom of seeing karmic cause and effect. Not to be satisfied by the temporary pleasures and happiness that samsara gives us along the way, but to see clearly the faults of samsara and to make that determination to be free. On the bottom of page 5, it says, to be liberated from the sufferings of samsara, generate the following motivation thinking. I go for refuge in the three jewels and will practice the meditation and recitation of Bhagavan Vajrasattva. You are the idam above your head on a full moon. This Ahung and Vajra instantly transform into Bhagavan Vajrasattva. His exalted body is white like the peak of a snow mountain touched by the rays of the sun. His legs are crossed. With his two hands, the right holds a vajra at his heart, and the left holds a bell resting on his hip. He is adorned with various jewel ornaments. At his heart center, in the middle on the moon, this is a hung surrounded by the 100-syllable mantra. From this Hung light rays emanate, clearing the obscurations of sentient beings. Streams of elixir are invoked from the hearts of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They dissolve into the Hung. From there, a stream of elixir descends, flows through his body, emerging from the tip of his right big toe. The stream enters the crown of your head, and all the collections of misdeeds, obscurations, and transgressions from beginningless samsaric lifetimes are washed away like dirt by water, and exit from the lower orifices of your body. The stream of elixir fills you from below, strolling upwards, then focusing on the Hung, surrounded by the mantra at the heart of the Bhagavan. Recite the mantra. Think of Bhagavan Vajrasattva as essentially your root guru. By relying on the four powers, the power of regret with regards to the unskillful actions that we are habitually creating of body, speech, and mind, seeing them, exposing them to Bhagavan Vajrasattva. Then we rely on the second power, which is Bhagavan Vajrasattva. In essence, our root guru, inseparable from all the Buddhas, peaceful and wrathful forms, Lord of the mandala. We rely on Guru Vajrasattva as the second power. And the third power of doing this meditation and soon reciting the 100-syllable mantra, feeling the evil deeds, obscurations, and transgressions from beginningless samsaric times are flushed out of our body, so that we become clearer and clearer in the form of whatever idam it is that we identify with. Then the fourth power is the power of resolve. We have to make a resolve not to want to be caught in the cycle of unskillful cause and effects. If we don't make this the resolve, then it's again and again and again and again, flushing out, clearing out, piling in, clearing out, piling in again and again. Then there can be no end. So it is said that the only quality that you can find when you look at negative karma, the misdeeds, the evil deeds, the obscurations and the transgressions of the vows, the only quality, if we are trying to look for a quality in them, is that they can be cleared before they ripen. They can be cleared, they can be lessened, and at the very least, they can be lessened so that their effects when they ripen don't become such big obstacles that will throw us off from the path. Don't think of the main problem of negative karma ripening as mere suffering. Mere suffering is not even that terrifying once you're on the path. Once you're on the path, what is most terrifying is the kind of suffering, the kind of obstacles that will derail you from your commitment to complete Buddhahood. So in fact, the language of obstacles, we use that a lot, obstacle, 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 obstacle. Obstacle from what? Obstacle towards actualizing the two bodhicittas. Otherwise, negative karma ripening, they're not obstacles. They are just negative karma ripening. And they ripen as suffering. And we don't want suffering. So then we see them as obstacles. In that case, obstacle to what? That's not obstacle. Obstacle needs to be obstacle to something meaningful. And so here, the real obstacles that we need to fear are the obstacles that will derail us from our commitment to actualize the two bodhicittas. So in particular, this purifying of the mind stream through the method of the four of Vajrasattva, powered by the four powers, in particular, is to remove those obstacles that will prevent us, that will derail us from actualizing the two bodhicittas. Bhadra Sato Samaya Manobalaya Basa Sato Denobadita Dedameva Situka Memo Sabukaya Memo Anana Memo Savasiri Memaja Savakama Sujamajinam Saram Guru Bhagavan Savadana Besama Bhadra Sato Samaya Manobalaya Basa Denobadita Dedameva Situka Memo Sabukaya Memo Anana Memo Savasiri Memaja Savakama Sujamajinam Chiram Sri Anguru Hong Ha Ha Om Bhagavan Samantana Gata Besama Jabasibo Mahasamaya Sado Om Basa Sata Samaya Manubala Denopatita Dito Mebo Sutokaya Mebo Supokaya Memo Anurata Mebo Savasari Maja Savakamasu Jamanjinam Sranguru Om Bhagavan Samantana Gata Besama Om Bhazra Sata Samaya Manubala Basa Denopatita Dito Mebo Sutokaya Memo Supokaya Memo Anurata Memo Savasari Maja Savakamasu Jamanjinam Sranguru Bhadra Sada Samaya Manobalaya Mananda Namadina Namazaka Bhadra Sada Samaya Manobalaya Mananda Namadina Namama Sudaka Subaya Mama Naradam was over Majas of Akamasu Jamajanam Zanguru Bhagavan Bhadra Sada Samaya Manobalaya Mananda Denobadina Silakamas Bugaya Mama Naradam was over Majas of Akamasu Jamajanam Zanguru Bhagavan Bajrama Memaja Bajrava Mahazamaya Sado Bajra Zada Zamaya Manabalaya Bajra Denobadi Dadam Silakama Subaya Mama Anurado member was Savasi the Mema Jasamaka Sujamanjanam Zeranguru Magaman Zamadana Bezama Memaja Bezava Mahazamaya Sado Bajra Zada Zamaya Manabalaya Bajra Subogayo Memo and another Memo Sabazin Memaja Samakama Sujamanjam Zeranguru Magaman Zamadana Bezama Jabezabo Mahasamaya Sado Bajra Zada Zamaya Manabalaya Baza Denabada Denam Sedam Subuyama and another Memo Savasi Moja Samakama Sujame Chidam Sreanguru Hong Ha Magaman Zavada Bezama Jabezabo Mahasamaya Sado Bajra Zada Zamaya Manabalaya Mazara Sato de nobody that dead on me, Baba Sudoka on me, Baba Suboka on me, and another me was about any Mazara Samaya Mandabalaya Bazara, the Madina Denimazan was of Bazara Sato Samaya Mandabalaya Bazara, the nobody that dead on me, Baba Sudoka, Suboka, and another me was about any was they don't remember was a dog, I remember was Suboka, and another me was over the branches of a Kamasuja. Bajrama Memoja Bajribova Mazamaya Doa Bajra Sato Sama Yamanabalaya Bajra Sato Samaya Manabalaya Bazara, then Badina, then Mimazara Suboga Muma, and Mimasabajan Memojas of Kamasuja, ha 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 ha, Bagamas of the Nakada. Bazama Memoja Bajribova Mahasamaya Sato, Bajra Sato Samaya Manabalaya. So was it a message of a message of a gentleman? Sato, Bazara, the Samaya Manubalaya, Bazar, the Another was the Domemo, Sutoka Memo, Suboka Memo, and the Domemo, so was any messages of a message of a gentleman. Bazara Sada Samaya Manobalaya Bazanda Denobadida Dedamemo Sudogames of Gramma and Radamima Sawaside Mebayaja Savakama Suja Mechedam Sreankuru Hong Ha 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 Bagaman Savata Gata Pesama Muja Bezeribova Mahasamaya Sahato. Then we make this prayer to Guru Vajrasattva. I am ignorant and bewildered. I have transgressed and broken my samayas. O Guru Protector, grant me refuge. Grant me refuge. Literally, it's grant me protection. So it is said in the text that talk about the powers of the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva. It is said that if we start our day by reciting 21 times Vajrasattva, what it does is like, it's the idea of like dirt attracts dirt. And so if you start your day by doing a cleanse of 21 Vajrasattvas, so maybe some of us, you say, oh, I don't have time, you know. Well, how about 21 Vajrasattvas when you jump in the shower? Don't recite out loud. It is said in the tantras, you know, when you are like in the shower or in the toilet, you know, you can say mantra, but you have to do it in such a way that is not out loud, because you might disturb other people. Other people might think, you know, oh, you're doing something odd. Also, it's said that you recite, you know, kind of just mentally and a little bit whispering. So you can do 21. Remove the, as you cleanse in the morning or as you brush your teeth. Starting from brushing teeth to, you know, going into the shower, coming out, I'm sure you can put in 21 Vajrasattvas. So you remove this at the beginning of the day because dirt attracts dirt. So to the degree that you have removed, so then the dirt don't come flying to you so easily. Then at the end of the day, it says, you know, before you go to sleep, you should do 21 Vajrasattvas, because this is to prevent prevent whatever dirt that is accumulated from growing while you're asleep. Because it's said that in the dream state, there can be kind of fleeting but very strong states of mind may turn up in dreams that might increase the contamination. So you also do a cleanse before you go to sleep, if you can. Again, maybe from brushing teeth. And even if you cannot do or don't know, if, oh, is it 21? Just make it a habit, you know, maybe associate your brushing of teeth at least with as many Vajrasattvas as you get in. But don't do it in like, oh, as many as possible, in that neurotic way. More is with understanding from the heart and say, oh, okay, you know, as I cleanse myself, may outside and inside be cleansed as well. So the second preliminary is the mandala offering. So last week, we mostly focused on mandala offering. This week, we will mostly focus on this Vajrasattva practice. So then, the special preliminary is the special preliminary of bodhicitta. So that section starts on page 13. Special preliminary has 3 sections: cultivating loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And so the famous Fivefold Mahamudra song, the first verse, if the steed of love and compassion. I shared the latest version of our text last night. Already I found some mistakes here. Typos. It's just amazing the amount of obscurations that exist in a text because of how they exist in the mind. They keep turning up. Anyway, here on page 14, it says, if the steed of love and compassion does not run for the benefit of others, it will not be rewarded by gods or humans. Attend earnestly, therefore, to this foundational attitude. which consists of these three: loving kindness, compassion, and then actual bodhicitta. So then some very pithy but beautiful instructions on how to cultivate loving kindness and compassion in an unbiased way. Then bodhicitta section, the third mind. Sometimes these are called the three minds, the three mindset. So then the third is bodhicitta, which has two parts: aspiration bodhicitta and action bodhicitta. So for aspiration bodhicitta, on page 20, let's say that together. All enemies who bear hatred towards me, and all of us obstructors who harm us, and the mandala of Mara, the dark forces that create disharmonious conditions and obstruct the attainment of liberation and all-knowingness, may all sentient beings, as numerous as space, especially our Father and Mother, those not yet liberated from the ocean of suffering that is samsara, be liberated. Those not yet freed from the bondage of defilements, be freed. Those who have not yet found rest in the Shravaka vehicle or Pratyeka Buddha vehicle, be brought to rest. And those who have not yet fully transcended suffering, I will lead them to completely transcend suffering through the Mahayana. Then on page 23, the action bodhicitta vow. So the most common aspiration and action bodhicitta vow in Drigung practice, we often recite this at the beginning of every practice. And those are the words of Kyoba Rinpoche, all mother sentient beings are boundless, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path, the liberation and all-knowingness, that particular one. This is also variations of that you will see in the Drigung tradition materials. Now on page 23. Until I reach the heart of awakening, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. For as long as I live, and from now until this time tomorrow, I will take into my experience this Mahayana profound path of the union of the creation and completion stages. On page 24, from the words of glorious Mahamudra, he said, with the river of loving kindness not being cut, and the root of compassion being well moistened, the tree of bodhicitta having extensively grown, may the flower of the 10 bhumis emerge and cause the fruit of the two benefits to ripen. Two benefits is the benefit of freeing ourselves from confusion and the benefit of helping others to become free from confusion. Main practice has two parts, divided into creation stage and completion stage. And these cover the next three of the Fivefold Mahamudra, which is practice of Idam, practice of devotion, practice of natural state Mahamudra. The practice of Idam and devotion to the Guru, these two are part of creation stage. Then the natural state Mahamudra, the fourth of the Fivefold, that is the completion stage. So here with regards to deity, the second verse from that famous Fivefold Mahamudra song, If with one's body the king of deities' exalted forms, the stronghold of the unchanging ground is not seized, the retinue of Dakinis will not assemble. Attend earnestly, therefore, to this body as idam. So now I will do a very short guided meditation on this particular idam. So you can follow along and read along if you want, or you can just listen. It's up to you. By reciting Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddho Hang, think that all phenomena are by nature completely pristine. This pristine nature is none other than the emptiness of the apprehended and apprehender, the emptiness of subject and object, and is only mind. Within this state of emptiness, your own mind arises in the form of the syllable Hum, hovering in space, from which light radiates. From this Hum appears a Yam, which becomes a mandala of wind, half circle in shape, green in color, gigantic, definitely bigger than the room that you are in. Again, the special instruction here is when you don't limit your visualization to simply size and proportions that you are familiar with, that we habitually go to, then you don't have so big a problem of where should the deity face, this way, that way, first person, second person, third person perspective. So this big mandala of wind, then a ram syllable comes out of the Hum, turns into a mandala of fire, red in color, triangle in shape, stack on top of the wind mandala, stack on top of the fire mandala from a bum syllable is a round mandala, white in color, the mandala of water. On that, a square mandala, yellow in color, from the lam syllable. So these four mandalas stacked on top, one by one. By simply recollecting these four shapes and the meanings of these shapes and colors, it is said that the four elements that constitute all of material substance can be purified, cleansed by you meditating, cultivating these four shapes and understanding the meaning of these shapes. Upon the square yellow mandala of earth appears the Sum syllable comes from the Hum hovering in the sky, which turns into this cosmic mountain, Sumeru or Meru. On the four slopes of Meru, Meru has four slopes in the four directions with four colors. At the very top of Mount Meru, a Bam syllable comes out of the Hum and turns into a multicolored lotus. Upon that, from Hum comes a cross Vajra set on the multicolored lotus. Then from the vowels come a moon, and from the consonants comes a sun. So a white round cushion on top of which is a red round cushion. In the center of that, light radiates from the letter Hung. Now the letter Hung has descended onto the cushion. Light radiates from the letter Hung, clearing the obscurations of all beings and transforming them into the host of deities of Chakasamvara. The light then gathers back and absorbs into the Hung, melting as bodhicitta. And from this bodhicitta appears, in one instant, appears Chakasamvara. First, the male deity, his body is dark blue, pure and luminous like the color of a stainless sky. He has one face and 3 eyes, with fangs slightly bared. His left leg is bent, pressing on the left ear of Black Bhairava, and his right leg is extended, pressing between the breasts of Red Kalaratri. With his 2 hands holding a vajra and bell, he embraces the consort, Vajravarahi. His head is adorned with a crossed vajra, and a top knot of matted hair tied with silk ribbons, beautified with a wish-fulfilling jewel. Then on the left side of this matted hair, he is adorned with a crescent moon. So crescent moon on the left side of this piled up matted hair. On the right side is a cross vajra with one of those sides of that vajra inserted into the hair, 3 sides showing. Then at the very top of the top knot is a blue wish-fulfilling jewel. His forehead is adorned with a garland of vajras and 5 dry skulls. A hanging garland of 50 fresh heads is strung on human intestines. He is adorned with the 6 mudras and wears a tiger skin skirt. He possesses the 9 dramatic sentiments: amorous, heroic, repulsive, laughter, wrathful, terrifying, compassionate, majestic, and peaceful. In his embrace is the consort Bhagavati, red in color with 1 face and 3 eyes, her fangs fully bared. Her hair is loose, she wears a crown of 5 dry skulls and hanging garland of 50 bone ornaments, and a girdle of bone ornaments. From below comes the tinkling sound of bells. With her 2 hands, the right holds a 5-pronged vajra curved knife, and the left holds a skull cup of blood, with which she embraces and offers to the Lord. She is adorned with the 5 mudras, naked and in inseparable union with the Lord. Then, by the symbolic action of blazing rays of light from the Hung at his heart, the hosts of deities of the Chakasambhara Mandala are invited from their natural abodes. We make the outer and inner offerings to them. So all these wisdom beings of the mandala of Chakasamvara, now we absorb into the Samaya being through the 4 syllables of Ja, Hong, Bam, Ho, hooking them in, drawing them in, binding them, and pleasing them, making them and the Samaya being inseparable. Ja, Hong, Bam, Ho. Now bless your crown with Om, your throat with an Ah, and your heart with the Hum. If you want here, you can silently or recite these 3 syllables, Om, Ah, Hum, blessing the 3 places of both you as the male deity and you as the female deity. Again, from the Hung light radius, inviting the 5 families with their retinues. These are the empowerment Buddhas. Having made the inner offerings, we pray, may all you Tathagatas bestow empowerment. Having prayed thus, they bestow empowerment with Om Sarva Tathagata Abhishekata Samaya Shriye Hum. The empowerment elixir is poured into us through the openings at the top of the crown. Your entire body is filled with wisdom elixir. The excess liquid gathers firmly on top of your head, and Akshobhya seals your crown. Although not explicitly mentioned in this particular manual, the female deity, same thing is happening. Being given empowerment, and the liquid that gathers overflow at the top of the lady turns into Vairochana, sealing in the elixir and residing on top as Vairochana. So let this visualization be really large, really huge, entire universe. Here near Nipa, the author reminds us the deity is like a drawing in the sky, appearing yet without inherent essence. Cultivate it as clear yet without grasping. Its colors are distinct like a rainbow in the sky. Its form is clear like a reflection in a mirror, and its appearance is pervasive like the moon's reflection in water. Know these 3 similes. The Guhya Samaja Tantra says that whoever cultivates my exalted form, whether as a magical illusion or as being like a dream, by cultivating in this way intensely, they will come to see this form face to face directly. So now, very normal that we don't see this image so clearly. That's just normal. Don't fuss over it, but relax the mind, actually. But be present to whatever feature of this visualization that will come, that will sharpen in focus. Think of it that way, Sometimes it's like when we're staring at something so strongly, we cannot see what is actually there. But when we relax, then what we need to see can very suddenly turn up very clear. Initially, just for a few moments, but don't fixate. Don't try to grasp. And trust that the different pieces are slowly coming together. Finally, glorious Mahamudra said, cultivate the deity's form, which is like a rainbow. The purpose is to abandon clinging to ordinariness. Therefore, you should single-mindedly cultivate this idam deity as the union of appearance and emptiness without grasping. If you have a painted image of Jakasamvara or a statue, you can from time to time gaze on that, taking that as a visual cue. Don't take the painting of the statue to be the final final version of this visualization. This visualization, this experience that you have in your heart, in your mind, this Jakasamvara that you're cultivating that will eventually turn up more and more easily should be according to your own cultivation. Tankas, images, statues, they are just visual cues. They are visual fingers pointing to the moon of Jakasamvara, the moon that is Jakasamvara and Vajavarahi, the co-emergent Jakasamvara. Is one that you cultivate right now, and in time will appear naturally whenever you think of co-emergent Jakasamvara. In Gilbert Rinpoche's special instructions on cultivating the co-emergent Jakasamvara, he says that to abide in this cultivation of clear appearance. So remember, there are three aspects, right? In terms, when we have arrived here, we need to cultivate clear appearance, meaning this image of co-emergent Jakasamvara needs to become more and more vivid for us. That takes time. And I've suggested how to do it. It's a delicate balance between, yes, applying some effort, looking at images of Jakasamvara. Don't look at too many different images. Choose one or two. Just the main deity with the consort, male and female. Gaze on that, get familiar with the characteristics that are mentioned in our text. So put in effort. But at the same time, you cannot put in effort in a way where you are forcing the mind to memorize these features. It won't work. You have to relax and say, to think, have this attitude of to relax is to give a lot of space, but also space that has presence. It cannot be a nihilistic space. That's what it means, when we say space or emptiness is not nihilistic. How is it not nihilistic? It is not nihilistic because there is presence. That means that you are present. Your mind is present. And so then this presence of mind, needs to be cultivated with an understanding of emptiness. Otherwise, that presence can also turn into something wrong, becomes essentialism. So these are the two extremes that we overcome. And so you allow a lot of space. A lot of space for what? For presence. And this presence will begin to appear more and more with various parts of the deity. Sometimes maybe just even one eye will appear very clear. Sometimes maybe the crescent moon, sometimes maybe the garland of fresh heads, sometimes maybe the right foot or the left foot. You just keep allowing different parts to become clearer, 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 and then eventually in time, they also come together. So that's abide in the state of clear appearance. Then second is pure recollection. This pure recollection is mindfulness, or maybe better translation is mindfulness of the meaning of these features, remembering the meaning of these features, that they are pointing to qualities of mind. All qualities of mind are manifesting in particular forms. So the one face means this, and the union of the Lord and the Lady means that. That's the remembering the symbolism, remembering purity, and remembering like the four mandalas, right? In the four shapes with the four colors. And that when you remember, when you have clarity, the first element, and that clarity comes with understanding of what these images, what these shapes, what these colors are actually manifesting, then cultivating these has the power to purify the stains accordingly. And then the third is stable divine pride, stabilizing, steadying divine pride. Divine pride is particularly emphasized through the understanding of the five manifest awakening, right? That the five manifest awakenings is the purified aspect of what we go through now, from death in the last life to wandering in the bardo to conception to birth. Like through these great events, as we can say, our Buddhahood has never been diminished. On the essence level. On the appearance level, yes, of course, big difference. So instead of presencing, I've spoken of deity yoga as a practice of presencing. Instead of turning up, instead of presencing as a samsaric being, idam practice is helping us to habituate presencing as Buddhists. More and more effectively more and more reliably presencing, turning up as the Buddhas that we are, instead of as the samsaric beings that we are not. Then here Gilbert Rinpoche said, one should cultivate in this way for as long as one does not become tired. So that means, right, up till this point when you cultivate the idam, again, it's not, sometimes people think, oh, to cultivate the idam is to recite mantras. That's the habit that has formed. But it's not, because he says this is the main practice. One should cultivate in this way for as long as one does not become weary, tired. This is the main practice. Then he goes on, he says that the next part is what is called the post meditation activities. And what are they? Reciting mantras, offering tormas, are the two that are post meditation, he calls it. So mantra recitation is secondary. Primary is cultivating these three aspects: clarity, purity, and pride. Shorten the three. Clarity with regards to the image, the appearance. Purity with regards to what is the meaning of this appearance. And then pride as in Buddha nature, divine pride. So this I-making in Sanskrit is called ahankara, the process of I-making. We are constantly doing this process of ahankara, actualizing the I, but as samsaric I. Deity yoga is to switch. So ahang, right? Om shunyata jnana beja swabhava atma ko ahang. Atma ko hang. Ahang is I am. Right? This is the process of I making. So now is to actualize the Buddha instead of the confused I. So these three. So during deity cultivation, it's not that you just focus the mind on one thing and try to just kind of like typically what we think of meditating on. Chakasamvara means the mind just think of Chakasamvara. No, it's actually quite active. It's actually quite, you could say, busy in a way, but don't do it in a busy way. And then, of course, you get weary, you get tired easily. But know that it's many different aspects that you're cultivating. So many things can be going on. Don't think of it as just, oh, I cannot think of that, I cannot think of that. But know that there are these 3 points. And you can go back and forth, combining 2 of them, having all 3 of them. Yeah. So any questions about this? Hopefully through this more focused kind of idam practice, and those of you who have been doing these practices for a long time, here is your chance to get bad habits out of this picture. I know I have a whole bunch of bad habits picked up earlier in my Dharma life related to Idam practice. Very hard to get rid of them. The main one is, chant, 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 and rush to the mantra, and then spend hours, the mouth chanting mantras, blah, 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 and counting how many mantras. That is when we are offering the practice as an offering called drupje, offering as a practice. And then when there are, many people gathered together, then understandably you focus on mantra recitation. So I don't want to also give the idea that, don't do that at all. But that's secondary. That's just the performance aspect of these liturgies, which there is a place for that. What I'm saying is but not distinguishing between performance offerings of performance, which has a place in our practice, especially when we're gathered as a group in the physical space, especially together. And these days, when we say gather in the group, more specifically, like when you're all gathered in the same physical space, and you do the instruments, the ritual. Gyabje Gachen Rinpoche himself shared how, when he was young as a child, first he was introduced to this one, right? The more kind of the original way, so to say, of practicing the sadhanas, which is yourself working with this. And Rinpoche said, when he was started with that, he didn't get much of a feeling for the practice. But only after, later, when he was participating more in the communal life of the monastery, and when they were doing these, what they call drup chants, or drupche, big gathering, lots of people involved, musical instruments and everything. He said, then this practice came alive for him. Then when he went back into his solitary practice, he could kind of recreate the special effects, so to say, and it really helped. So there is a place, there is a purpose to those types of practices. But even that is to serve this more solitary. Because at the end of the day, it's our own minds that we're working with, our own hearts that we're working with. For the benefit of others, yes. But how do you benefit others? By working to remove mental defilements, to actualize Buddha qualities. Yeah? Okay, sorry, there was a question?
Yeah, Yinla, this recommendation to recite the Bodhisattva mantra at awakening and before sleep,
yes,
includes visualization or not necessarily?
Well, it's always, if you can, it's even better, right?
Okay, but if he, I can do it without the visualization is my question.
Well, some is better than none, right?
Okay.
Yeah, some is better than none, right? So kids here in the US, when they are taught about when they wash their hands, there's some song that they sing. So we can incorporate that in our, when you're washing hands, when you go to a car wash, whatever you do that has to do with cleaning, removing, maybe you switch do Vajrasattva mantra, sweeping, vacuuming,
Okay.
And these are just finding more and more ways, right, to work on what we are working on, right? Yeah, and always, especially I would say Dugong attitude is some better than none. Is it most ideal to do it this other way? Oh, yes, of course. But some is better than none. So, like, for example, all these debates about, can empowerment be received through the, like here, internet, live streaming? Can transmissions be received? Some is better than none. Much better if you are in the same physical space, of course, but some is better than none. But when you are truly, truly able to, then even none can become some.
Mhm.
Yeah, like what are these visions, right, that the great masters have and they receive empowerment through visions? And that is very similar to like internet, actually, live stream. It means, right, effectively what it means is there is no physical encounter there, like the internet, right? Now, of course, we're not claiming that, like, oh, this is definite, therefore this is like that, but it's we can think, right? Analogize. Oh, so this is the equivalent. Yeah. So some is better than none. Okay, so let's do dedication, the bodhicitta dedication. Chanchu sem chorim poche ma ge pa nam ge gyu che ke ba nyam pa me pa yang go ne gong tu Bell Shore. Page 78 of the Mahamudra manual is the dedication given in this manual. It's also a very common dedication we do in Jigong. Page 78. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtues, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. Yeah, so I have added, a bunch of appendices, 7 of them. Slowly, slowly, you'll be introduced to them. Right now, no need to. They're mostly for the Guru section of the Fivefold. In the Guru section, there are recitations mentioned in our text, but not given. This is quite typical because people have memorized things, so the manual just say this, and then dot dot dot. They give a few syllables at the beginning, and then they say, that's it, So I have pulled that in. So for now, yeah, if you're curious, you can just look at them, starting on page 80. So from page 80 to page 127 are all things that I have brought in. That's why it's a little delayed. Already, like I said, I've already found problems, and slight problems here and there, formatting problems, spelling problems. You know, it's quite a bit of work. Luckily, I'm obsessive, so it feeds my madness. So it doesn't feel like a lot of work, but effectively, it is a lot of work. So I'll see all of you tomorrow. I didn't think I was going to. Basically, I went to see friends, some plans that have been made for a while, and I completely forgot because of the busyness with the All Hallows, All Saints, All Souls event. Then I went to Atlanta, just 3.5 hours drive away. Then either I drive back this morning after waking up there, or come back last night. And I didn't want to miss too many of the sessions here. So I decided, effectively, friends also, okay, we've seen enough. We've eaten enough meals now, so I'm going to get on the road and get home so that I can wake up at home to do this morning. So we'll continue rest of this week. And okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Gracias, Dr. Line.
Ta-da.